Hey, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com. I'm an evolutionary astrologer and an energy worker and a channel. I do tutoring, I do consultations, I do energy work and coaching. There's a wealth of books and energetically programmed crystals and channeled audio, astrology audio. Just go to tdjacobs.com and check out what I've been up to for the last about 13 years, kind of cranking out a bunch of stuff to help you change your life. This video today is going to be a brief one on the true black moon Lilith, but really the difference between the true black moon and the mean position. I specialize in the true black moon, and I advocate its use, and this is also called the osculating apogee. And most people, however, use the mean position, which is the averaged position of that same marker. How I typically do this, in your astrology software, just FYI, look for if there's a setting for true, the true black moon or true Lilith or something like that. The way I often do charts is on astro.com in the free chart section, and you have to put in the box, the little extra bodies box at the bottom. It's a long box, H13. If in the smaller box above that, with the asteroid goddesses and Chiron and some centaurs, if you click that Lilith, that's the mean position, because again, most people are using the mean position. So you kind of have to really understand what this is about, you have to get technical. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the technical stuff. I'm not an astronomer, a physics person, an astrophysics person, a mathematician, but essentially what happens is, what the true black moon is, it's a point, it's not a body, that's critical to understand, it's a point, and it is a function of the moon's imperfect orbit around the Earth. Essentially, the Earth and the moon, we think of the Earth as a satellite, right? Earth and moon. And the moon orbits the Earth orbits the sun. Okay. What's really happening is, they're essentially, because the gravity of each affects the other, we're kind of almost a dual planet system. Kind of in the same way that Pluto and Charon, or Charon, C-H-A-R-O-N, it's large moon. In the same way that, astronomers are kind of talking about that as almost a dual planet system. And there is important symbolism in that for other videos, other explorations. But the idea is that the moon is not actually orbiting the Earth's axis. There's this kind of wobbly, fluctuating relationship. Again, not the technical terms. You can post in the comment video, I'm an astrophysicist and you're doing it wrong. That's fine. But the point is that it's kind of wobbly, it changes, right? The moon actually orbits the barycentric center of the Earth, which isn't just the axis. It's this whole deal. There's an explanation actually on Juan Antonio Revilla's site. He is a mathematician, astrologer, and astronomy physics person. I take a lot of inspiration from him too about the quality of the myth that I'll talk about in this video, and is also explored in Lilith Healing the Wild, my book. So here's the Earth, here's the moon in its orbit, right? Lilith is this point between the moon's farthest point in its apogee and the Earth, between there. Again, not so technical, but it's this like guess at where this point is going to be. That's the oscillating apogee. That's the true black moon. I'm a little self-conscious because I don't do the technical stuff, and that's why I've held off on doing a video like this for so long. But I'm just going to do it and throw it out there, because the qualitative message about the archetypal experience is valid, is completely valid. So when you look at a birth chart, the way that this constantly changing guess about where it's going to be in the next moment, this point, that's reflected in this kind of zigzaggy thing. Like, imagine the wheel here, and there's like a zigzaggy thing. So the true black moon, the oscillating apogee, does this all the way around the wheel. Because of its erratic, essentially unpredictable nature, most astrologers coming from the mind, which is anti-Lilith, the opposite of Lilith, because Lilith is like root chakra instinct and the wisdom of nature in our physical bodies and our endocrine system. Most people approach and say, well, that's too erratic. We can't count on that. Well, it's a point. You can't expect it to behave as a planet. It's a point that is a function of the moon's orbit around the Earth. So why would you expect it to behave as the moon itself, or as Mercury or Mars orbiting the sun, or geocentrically, around the Earth? Why would you expect it to do that? That doesn't make any sense. That's the brain's attempt to control and manage the experience. So as I said, lower chakra instinct and wisdom. And this is where Juan Antonio Revilla has helped me out quite a lot. I had some discussions over email with him before finishing the Lilith report and the book years ago, because he says, and was the main proponent for this argument, that if you use the mean position, smoothing it out, you're not getting anything. I liken using the average position to asking a blow-up doll what a woman is like. You're not going to get anything. So the true black moon is erratic. It moves quite a lot. Well, that fits the erratic nature of the Lilith archetype. If you know anything about the archetype, the actual experience of raw, visceral, primal, emotive reality about how moods change, how desires change, how our openness to certain experiences change, how something sounds great or somebody looks good on paper, and then we're in front of that person and we shut down, or we just have a kind of a visceral skin crawling, or something's wrong and our brains can't describe it. Well, Joe's actually really nice, but I just can't stand him. I don't know why. It's an irrational response, right? This is where the feminine gets a lot of stereotypes here: irrational, undependable, unreliable. The feminine, right, that translates into women in patriarchal culture, or translates into being put on women. But in fact, it's changeable. Think about this relationship of the moon's imperfect orbit around the Earth. The gravity of each affects each other. The moon is orbiting not the axis of the Earth, but the very center. That is always changing. There's always a shifting idea. So we don't want to ask a Barbie doll or a blow-up doll what a woman is like. I want to ask a real human what a human is like. I want to ask a woman what a woman is like. So that's really the main argument. In a future video, I'm going to go into the mythology of Adam and Lilith and Adam and Eve, which will give you kind of a different take on this same story. Thank you for your time and attention. The True Black Moon Lilith report is available again at tdjacobs.com. Look for the Natal reports picture on the homepage. And it ends up being like 20 to 30 pages, depending on how many aspects and transits and progressions you have, on your own True Black Moon Lilith. So there's an essay explaining a lot of stuff about patriarchal conditioning and why we treat the feminine the way we do and how to come out of it. And also your house, your sign, your aspects, your transits and progressions for the next year. So I'm happy to announce that that's available again. And also Lilith Healing the Wild is available on Kindle and Amazon, and also through tdjacobs.com. Thank you. Take care of yourself.